So let's talk goddesses. When I started my earth-based practices, my work with goddesses was really non-existent. It was kind of confined to just goddess oracle cards that I was drawn to. So I'd pick a card for a day and I'd work with the goddess that was on the card, and of course the message. But apart from that, my only other practice with goddesses were really on a seasonal basis. So as I observed the different festivals on the wheel of the year, I would connect with a god or a goddess. So Brigid for Imolc and Lugh for Lughnasadh. Now, I did spend a memorable 6 months many years ago focused on a Greek goddess called Hecate, and she's the goddess of magic, the goddess of witchcraft, the night, the moon, ghosts and necromancy. I'm sure you can see why I was drawn to her in particular, and I spent my time learning about her and connecting with her in meditation before I took the step of evoking her during a Samhain ritual. Now, if you're not sure what evoking means, it's the calling the energy to you, so asking the energy to be present with you. It's very different than invoking, which is really the practice of allowing the spirit inside yourself and you become the host for the spirit. And in my opinion, this has so many inherent dangers and risks. Invocation is not part of my practice, nor will it ever be. But if you are wanting to do this and to practice invocation, my advice would be to learn how to do this safely, and probably don't do it alone. But during the Samhain ritual, I did invite Hecate to be present, and she was very, very present. There was a significant energy shift. The whole of the group that was present for the Samhain ritual felt it. She communicated with us all individually in meditation. She also showed herself in the flames of the fire, and she moved air around us, and it really was quite mind-blowing. But although it was a powerful experience, I never really felt like I wanted to dedicate my practice to her or any other deity for that matter. So why the change? Well, over the last several years, I've been exploring my Celtic heritage, particularly my Irish ancestry. So through Druid learnings and Irish witchcraft exploration, I've been busily soaking up the legends, the myths and the stories, and really finding myself falling a little bit in love with the strong, powerful women at the centre of these stories. Now, Brigid was the first Irish goddess that I worked with, probably because of her connection to Imolc. Now, Brigid in pre-Christian times was a member of the Tuatha De Danann and the daughter of the Dagda. She's associated with wisdom, with poetry, with healing, protection and blacksmithing, and also domesticated animals. Now, when Ireland was Christianised, Brigid became Saint Brigid or Saint Brigid, and over the years I've learned more about Brigid and really enjoy getting to know her. And so when the wheel of the year turns to Imolc on February the 1st, I really enjoy my connection to her. But for the last 6 months or so, I've been drawn to working with Cerridwen, who is a Welsh goddess. Now, some people choose to dedicate themselves to one particular deity. Some work with a pantheon of deities. And if you haven't heard the term pantheon before, all that really means is a collection of important goddesses or gods from a particular culture or tradition. So for me, I like to work with Celtic goddesses, as this is my cultural heritage. Others are drawn to working with Greek, Norse, Roman or Hindu gods, and there's many others. And some are very eclectic and are drawn to goddesses or gods from different pantheons. Now, some neo-pagan practices focus entirely on deity worship as an integral part. So like Dianic Wicca, which works exclusively with female goddesses. Other traditions work with maybe a range of gods and goddesses. There's so many different practices out there. And of course, many people don't work with deity at all. The important thing to remember is that there's no right or wrong. You find your truth, you find your way, and you find what works best for you. But don't be surprised, like I've been, when a deity or even deities kind of come knocking. So why work with a deity in the first place? And I think this is an excellent question to ponder, and one that I truly couldn't get my head around for the longest of times. You know, I had my guides to support me, I had physical mentors and teachers that I worked with, so really why would I need to connect to a goddess or a god at all? I think, you know, it may have been my Catholic upbringing and maybe a hangover from that still present in my body, but I really didn't understand why people practice this way. Now, obviously, the answer to this question is varied and is individual. So I'll give you a number of the different interpretations to this question that I've heard people say, along with my own personal reasons as to why I'm taking this journey now. So many people connect with deity for support. You know, particularly in times of trouble, we reach out to these other world beings and we entreat them for help and for healing. For some, they want to leverage the many gifts that a particular god or goddess possesses and hope to bring these strengths and virtues into their life. Some will connect with goddesses or a god energy for spell work and for magical practice, hoping to empower the intention and to help it manifest as desired. Others worship them with a reverence that really approaches fear and with a deference that's almost obedient-like. And I'm sure that there are 1,000 other answers to that question if you asked 1,000 people. For me, I found that my work so far really is about a strong connection to my home world, my people and my ancestry. It really feels like coming home. I enjoy getting to know the deity. I enjoy forming the relationship. It's like meeting a new person from my clan and finding some things in common and then spending time with them until it blossoms into a friendship. Now, I wouldn't say that I worship deity, but I do hold them with the utmost respect, and I want to honour their presence to me. Now, in my Druid learnings, I've been taught about reverence, and I think that this is an excellent word to use to describe how I feel about deity. It really is a deep respect. Now, if you're drawn to a deity, the best thing to do is to learn as much about them as you can. Now, there'll be stories, myths and legends about them, and the more that you can get to know them, the better the relationship, the better the connection that you'll have with them. Now, sometimes a particular deity will reach out to us and communicate to us in the world of dreams, of signs, and send messengers to us. So it's really good to watch out and to stay present to what's going on around us. You'll also want to learn about the deity, because some are more exacting to work with than others. Some will be blunt, maybe a bit standoffish, and dare I say it, even selfish. So understanding them is the best. Now, I'm not going to share a full account of my work with Cerridwen because I don't want to take away the magicalness and the joy out of your own journey with her, should you feel drawn to work with a goddess like Cerridwen. But I will share a little bit of my journey with her. So in Welsh mythology, Cerridwen is a powerful underworld goddess and the keeper of the cauldron of knowledge, inspiration and rebirth. And the cauldron really is one of the most symbolic elements of Celtic teachings, and Cerridwen's cauldron represents inspiration, knowledge and wisdom, as I've said. It's about transformation and rebirth. The cauldron is said to contain Awen, the divine spirit, and she rules the realms of death, fertility, regeneration, inspiration, magic, enchantment and knowledge. Now, Cerridwen is a shape-shifting goddess. She's able to take on various forms. Now, getting to know a deity starts with learning all about the myths and the stories surrounding them. So this is the first step that I would recommend you take should you want to connect with deity. Find well-researched sources that can accurately provide the accounts that you're looking for, and go to the sources from the culture of the particular goddess or god that you want to learn about. So for me, I want to go to the sources of information from people born in Wales or Ireland, because they understand the language, the folklore, the tradition, the customs and the myths. So I was very recently introduced to the Mabinogion, and this is a book based on an 11th century manuscript, which is thought to contain the stories and tales from early Welsh bards who kept the oral history alive from ancient times. So thanks, Christy, for letting me know of this wonderful resource and source of information. I will pop that down below, and also a wonderful Irish mythology source as well. So meditation is a practice that is going to help you to develop your relationship with a particular deity. Invite them to connect through the practice of meditation. And I was listening to a podcast recently that talked about meditation being the practice of listening, and praying the practice of asking. And this really struck me. So if we accept that this is true, meditation comes first, because in my mind that's relationship building, and that's one of the most important things for us to do when we are hoping to work or to focus and practice with a deity. Relationship first. And journal your journey, what you're learning from your study, what you're receiving in meditation, how you're feeling about it, what questions that you have. So these are really good things to journal, and journaling is such an important part of our growth and learning and practice as a magical practitioner. Pay attention to these signs that might be communicated from the deity that you're building your relationship with, and this really is a major way that they communicate with us. So being present and staying open is really important, and this is why learning about them is critical as well, because you're going to be able to spot the signs that they're sending based on that understanding and knowledge of them. Like Hecate tends to send a black dog. And again, journal everything to look for themes and patterns, and just write everything down. So after learning what I could about Cerridwen, I embarked upon a series of meditations to try to connect with her. And each one has been, a little bit different than the other. So my first meditation was quite simple, with an intention setting to connect. It was really pleasant, and I spent my time wandering around the countryside. I like to think that it was the Welsh countryside, but I didn't really make a connection. I did get a sense she was there, but not accessible at all. And when I come when I came around from that, I wasn't disappointed. You know, I didn't go into the meditation expecting a full-blown communications session. I just had a nice walk in some beautiful countryside and I felt refreshed. So I tried again a second time, same sort of thing. Although this time, part of my walk, I was joined by a stag, and I got a strong sense that this was Cerridwen because she is a shapeshifter. And then the next time I journeyed, a hare joined me. It was a really playful experience with the hare kind of jumping in front and running and urging me to kind of go faster. And he kept stopping and kind of fixing me with his beady eyes, and I really felt that the hare was laughing and teasing me, and I felt that this was Cerridwen. My next meditation was a bit more purposeful, so I did set an intention to ask her to come. I burned some sacred herbs in the cauldron because that's such symbolic for her. And I didn't go into meditation, I just sat open to the experience, and I did feel an energy shift. But, I can't absolutely say that this was the energy of Cerridwen or not, but it did feel different. But as Samhain is one of the times of year that is represented by Cerridwen, and of course it's not too long now, it's August now, I'm going to do a ritual then. Probably I'm going to try some scrying in my cauldron. I'm really going to ask her to be present. But until then, I'm going to continue to learn about her and try a few more meditations. I feel like she's playing a little bit hard to get, so I'm going to keep on trying to make that connection with her and developing the relationship. Now, I do want to tread a little bit carefully though, because I have read that she was used to taking command, so she's not always able to give others the freedom to lead their own lives according to their own wishes, but to do the things that she thinks are right. It's probably typical deity behaviour, but I really want to be careful on how strong of a connection I make until I know and understand her a little bit better. Because I don't really want to have a goddess being very overburdening in my life. However, I've also read that, being the Dark Mother, she's really great. She's a great ally in our shadow work, which is ongoing for me. I'm sure it's ongoing work for us all. Now, I want to talk a little bit about dedicating yourself to a deity. And for the longest time, I never understood why somebody would dedicate their practice to one or more deities. Now, obviously, people have different reasons as to why they work with a god or goddess. I've talked a little bit about some of those reasons earlier. But not everybody goes that step of dedicating themselves to one or more. And in my opinion, this really is a huge step to make, and one that you shouldn't make lightly, because dedicating yourself to a deity, as far as I understand it, means that you're really devoting yourself to them. You get to have a really close relationship with them, which is fantastic, to venerate and to worship them. But it also means that they're going to ask you to do things, they're going to ask you to do some work that you need to do in dedication of that deity. And depending upon the deity, this can be very exacting, and there won't be an element of choice really how you honour and bring their attributes into the modern world. Dedication is a daily practice, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. You are literally turning your heart and your life over to the deity. So it's a relationship that isn't necessarily on your terms, it's on their terms, and you may be on call far more than you had ever anticipated being. So think long and hard about the type of relationship that you want with deity, and even the deity themselves, because they all have their light and their dark side, but some are more demanding than others. Now, never say never, but I don't think I don't think I'm going to fully dedicate myself to one particular goddess. I'm really content with the exploration and the journey that I'm having, particularly with Cerridwen now, and I don't feel the need to commit myself in this way. I don't think it's for me, but I am looking forward to developing my relationship with her enough to be able to embody her virtues, her many virtues and her attributes, and support her work in this world. So whether this is to make a stand for some of the causes that she's interested in, maybe preserving what's important to her, or running a few errands from time to time, I think there'll be some real growth and learning for me if I do this, and particularly if some of this work is challenging and difficult, and I think I'm ready for that. Now, my work with Deity so far has been fascinating. I've enjoyed developing the relationships and the connections that I've made. I've enjoyed learning from them and bringing their qualities into my life in a more kind of focused way. I think they helped me to be a better version of myself. So my exploration and work with Cerridwen continues. So stay tuned. Now, I hope that you found this a helpful video, and if you like content like this, please do consider subscribing and maybe sharing the channel as well. Now, if you've dedicated your life to a deity, please share your experiences in the comments below, because I'd love to learn more about that. And if you've any questions, just let me know. Ta-ta for now.